So picture this. You've got a perfectly normal day at a police station help desk in Leeds, right? Then a 21-year-old guy walks through the doors alongside his parents. But he's not there to report a stolen bike or a noise complaint. No, he's actually there to confess to a crime that spans literally thousands of miles across the Atlantic Ocean. It's an offense so unprecedented, so deeply disturbing, that unraveling it would require two international law enforcement agencies working together.
Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into the facts of a truly landmark and incredibly unsettling legal case. We're going to objectively analyze a transatlantic tragedy that really exposes the darkest corners of the internet. It's a stark look at how these digital spaces can have very real, fatal consequences, and how our justice system is having to adapt to hold people accountable.
Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1. A shocking confession. March 27, 2025 in Leeds, West Yorkshire.
So our timeline officially kicks off on March 27, 2025, and what immediately stands out here is the massive geographical divide. On one side of the ocean, you got 21-year-old Dylan Phelan over in Leeds, UK, and on the exact opposite side in Louisiana, US, a victim of the exact same age. Phelan actually confessed to the police that he had assisted in the suicide of this young man who, at the time, he just called Tyler.
Now you might be wondering, did Phelan just wake up one day and decide to turn himself in out of nowhere? Well, not exactly. The secrecy of the internet was basically broken by real-world intervention. What happened was, Phelan had confided in a woman he initially met online and later met in person. He told her about the victim's death months after the fact. Understandably horrified, she went straight to his parents, and it was actually his parents who physically brought him to the station to face what he'd done.
Here we have a timeline that really helps lay out the sequence of events we're going to unpack. This whole story actually spans more than a decade, believe it or not. It starts with a devastating personal loss for the victim 10 years prior, moves to the tragic incident in October 2024, followed by that confession, and finally wraps up with the sentencing in June 2026. So let's rewind a bit and understand who this victim actually was.
Moving to Section 2, the tragic video call, the vulnerability of Travis Dwyer.
Travis Dyer was just 21 years old. He lived in Louisiana, and he was widely described as a highly vulnerable young man, someone actively battling severe mental health struggles. And there's a really heartbreaking context to this. A decade before his own death, Travis went through an unimaginable tragedy. He lost both his mother and his little sister in a horrific car crash. This kind of profound, lingering grief is absolutely crucial to understanding how he ended up looking for connection in the dark spaces where he eventually crossed paths with Phelan.
For several months leading up to the incident, Travis and Phelan were communicating on DECODE. Now, DECODE is normally just a standard messaging app for text, voice, and video. But in his police interview, Phelan admitted he'd been drawn into what he described as darker groups on the platform. Basically, completely unmoderated, highly toxic corners of the internet. And sadly, that is exactly where this exploitation took place.
This all culminated on October 30th, 2024. They were on a Discord video call. Phelan, Travis, and two other individuals based in the U.S. During that call, Travis was repeatedly encouraged to end his own life using a shotgun. And, tragically, while still on the call, he followed through with it.
It is absolutely vital to understand here that Phelan wasn't just some passive bystander watching a tragedy unfold. Alex Johnson, a senior prosecutor with the Crown Prosecution Service, hit the nail on the head. He explicitly stated, Dylan Phelan did not simply witness these events. He deliberately and persistently encouraged Travis Dyer to take his own life. The prosecution made it very clear. These were calculated, deeply cruel actions.
And we know this for a fact because it wasn't just based on his confession alone. It was backed up by some truly chilling digital evidence. Authorities actually recovered a recording of that fatal video call. In it, you can literally hear Phelan actively encouraging Travis to pull the trigger. And honestly, even more disturbing, the audio actually caught Phelan laughing after the fatal act happened.
Now let's look at Section 3, an international investigation, West Yorkshire to Homeland Security.
Now, what's really interesting here is the sheer scale of the response. Handling a crime spanning two completely different legal jurisdictions required a massive international team effort. After Phelan confessed, the Leeds Criminal Investigation Department in the UK had to link arms directly with US Homeland Security. They had to painstakingly piece together this huge digital puzzle, connecting Leeds all the way to Louisiana.
Detective Inspector Dan Ridgway talked about just how complex this task was. But through their joint efforts, they did it. They secured the digital evidence of the video call itself, plus the wider web of texts and videos between Phelan, Travis, and the others in the months leading up to it. It really goes to show, you might feel completely anonymous on the internet, but every single keystroke leaves a trace.
Well, as they were digging through Phelan's phone, they actually found something else. The digital forensics team uncovered entirely separate but deeply alarming material. They found an indecent image of a child from November 2024, along with other extreme pornography. Phelan actually ended up pleading guilty to those separate charges in May of 2025.
Which brings us to Section 4, Justice and Online Safety, Legal Precedents and Sentencing. So, the justice system was faced with handing down a sentence that actually matched the severity of this cross-border exploitation. And in June 2026, at the Leeds Crown Court, Phelan was officially sentenced to 6.3 years. That's 6 years and 4 months behind bars.
To quickly break down the final legal outcome, Phelan pleaded guilty to encouraging suicide in March 2025, which led to that 6-year, 4-month prison sentence. But on top of that, because of the extreme material found on his phone, he was also handed a 10-year sexual harm prevention order. The courts sent a massive, undeniable message here. Digital cruelty carries severe, real-world consequences.
Senior prosecutor Alex Johnson basically summed up the precedent this sets. He said, "The anonymity of the internet does not place anyone beyond the reach of the law." And that right there is the core takeaway of this whole explainer. It's a definitive warning to anyone lurking in these toxic online spaces thinking they're untouchable. The police also used this moment to send out an urgent public plea. Detective Inspector Ridgway made it incredibly clear. Whether in person or online, if someone is making you feel unsafe or encouraging you to harm yourself or others, then please report it. It's a powerful reminder for all of us. We all play a part in breaking the silence that lets these dark groups survive.
So, the crucial point we want to leave you with is right here in Section 5, Seeking Help. You are not alone.
The things we've been talking about today are undeniably heavy. And the intense isolation that Travis Dreyer felt, that is something so many people battle in total silence every single day. If you or someone you know is struggling right now, please commit this number to memory. 116123.
We really want to emphasize that if you are feeling emotionally distressed or suicidal, you absolutely do not have to face it alone. You can call Samaritans for free anytime, day or night, at 116123. Or just hop online and visit Samaritans.org. There are deeply compassionate professionals sitting there right now, just waiting to listen and support you. Please reach out if you need it.
We're going to wrap up this explainer with a question that this entire tragedy forces us to ask ourselves. How can we better protect vulnerable individuals in the darkest corners of the internet? The digital world isn't just a screen. It requires the exact same vigilance as our physical neighborhoods. Thank you so much for joining us to unpack the facts of this profound case. Stay safe, stay observant, and please take care of one another.